Hey Alice, welcome back. You came at a good time. I'm here with the one and only Rob Salsich is sitting across from me of Kool Katz infamy.
Yep.
Thanks for coming, dude.
Thanks for having me, dude.
You
I
are a cool
appreciate it.
cat. I was actually thinking when I left earlier, your your fans can be the Kool Katz Club. And it could be
Well, as long as it doesn't start with a K, it's
Oh,
like,
it does.
Yeah, right.
It does.
Oh shit.
You gotta take it back, dude.
Yeah.
Take it back.
We're taking it
We're
back.
gonna take it back.
Yeah, for sure.
And here on my left is the one and only Chancellor Ruster.
Indeed.
Thanks for
Greetings.
returning. This is your first time back since the Chaos Council.
Oh, that is correct. Yeah, that is correct. That was a good time. We're gonna have to do that again soon.
Yeah, we went to war that day.
We did, and we won.
We
We
fought.
definitely won.
We fought some hard battles.
We brought Werner von Braun back from the dead, and he was not helpful at all. But we had the power to send him back, so that was okay.
So you're gonna be playing with another artist going to Germany for a bit. That's cool.
Yeah, Chili Monroe.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. He's got a band called the Carpetbaggers too.
That's a great band.
Yeah, Carpetbaggers.
You know where that comes from?
It's like a northeastern thing or a Boston thing.
During the Civil War, the people from the north, there were like rich northern liberals that would come down to the south that were either abolitionists or like faux abolitionists. Does that make sense? Like even back then, like liberals masquerading like virtue signaling or whatever. But they called them carpetbaggers because that's what they carried their luggage in. They carried them in these big like carpet bags. That's what the term comes from. Yeah.
Cool, dude.
Yeah.
Little history lesson. Right?
How many dates are you doing in Germany?
I think there's like 4 or 5 at the moment. We got a couple in like Switzerland. Wow. The bass player who's like, kind of booked the whole thing. He hit us up about this one place. It used to be an old like porno theater.
Whoa.
But now it's like this like kind of hip like venue now, but
/ porno theater.
yeah, it's got a lot of love there,
Wow,
fucking
soaked into the floorboards and shit.
yeah.
By a black light, this place looked like a Jackson Pollock painting.
I'm stoked for it, man. I'm just excited to see like a different part of the world, like a new culture and shit. And
So
I've always wanted to go to Europe, so I've it'll be something new.
Have you left the country before?
Yeah, I've gone to Canada. I went to Niagara Falls,
Nice.
But
that's sort of like going to Mexico, though. Like, I don't consider myself to have left the country really either, because I've been to Mexico with it. I mean, it's like and that was back before 9/11. You could just walk across the border.
I think Florida counts too.
Florida's like a fucking alternate dimension, dude.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Seriously. I've had the weirdest experiences of any tours that I've ever done in Florida. Like, the only place that it was like legitimately weird and bad at every gig for one reason or another.
Rest in peace, Florida.
Yeah.
If you're in Florida, you automatically become Florida man.
Dude, absolutely.
The moment you step foot in Florida.
Florida man exists.
I was watching a thing talking about, well, you were telling me about the alligator man. But that's funny because earlier, so you guys know about like Tiger King.
Yeah, oh yeah. Dude, he was from Oklahoma. My sister went to that place multiple times.
Really?
Yes, he ran for the governor of fucking Oklahoma, dude. That guy was so Joe Exotic. Like, he was a thing, like, all over the state. Anyway, sorry to cut you off.
That's not like the it's not as exotic as tigers, but people will do like have huge alligators as pets too.
Yeah, which is great.
That is pretty crazy.
Dude, there's been stories of people like flushing that shit down, like in New York City, like flushing like baby alligators down the fucking toilet, and the shit grows like massive in the sewer and fucking comes up out of the fucking drain, just like starts going fucking ramping through the city and shit, dude.
That's how those pythons ended up in the Everglades too. Those snakes that are the invasive species now, that are those massive snakes in the Everglades, they have to hunt and kill. That's how that happened. They were like pets.
That's how Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Someone flushed their turtles.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so that's cool. I've never been to Europe either. I'm just
Me neither, man. Excited for you. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. Just kind of came out of the blue, and I was like, Fuck yeah, dude. Hell yeah. I'm fucking play guitar for you, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds awesome, man.
We were talking about Game of Thrones earlier.
Oh,
I saved this till we started filming. But George R. R. Martin is suing ChatGPT because someone used ChatGPT to write the last 2 books. And
No shit.
And apparently it's not bad.
No shit.
So the last 2 Game of Thrones books are available now. They're just not by George R. R. Martin.
Interesting.
Wow, they use AI?
Interesting.
They just fed it all the books, and they're like, write the next 2 books.
Dude, what the fuck, dude?
Wow.
Yeah.
How the fuck do you feel about that shit, dude?
Have you read those
What do you
books?
mean?
Do you think it's like, I don't know,
Like the AI in general, like generating art? I think it's fucking terrible. I think it's terrifying.
Exactly, yeah.
It's definitely
Jackson
scary.
asked me if I wanted to look at AI generated art on acid, and I was like, fuck no.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't
no offense, but like, yeah,
support
it
that
looks
shit,
cool,
dude.
but I feel like just the same way that you guys were talking about the recording and the difference between analog and tape and the digital compression, I feel the same way about the art. Yeah, it looks cool, but it's generated by some algorithm of ones and zeros somewhere that is probably working its way to its chaining consciousness right now.
There's got to be a middle ground here, because I think we can appreciate these things, and also, I don't know if regulating's the right thing, but like, also understand that it's detrimental.
It puts artists out of business.
It shouldn't, like, I don't know. I feel like there's a purpose for it. Like, bring me a fucking waiter that's not going to give me a fucking attitude and like fucking spit my fucking potatoes, like, if you had an AI robot that like cooked shit and did something like that, but like, don't bring it into art, like, now you're fucking up art.
Here's how I feel about it, is like, it's happening and it's gonna happen.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't really understand the point in like complaining about it, because like it's like if an asteroid was coming, it's like, how do I feel about the asteroid? I feel like it's inevitable, like it's gonna hit us, and that sucks. But like, what are we gonna do about it?
I guess complaining about it, you're right, isn't the right word. I guess the only way to do it is to like, as a person who's like plays music and is in bands and makes his own music and makes his own art, you can make the choice to not use it
and adapt. Like this is the world we live in now. Figure out how to move through that as an artist.
Absolutely.
Like, because like Glorb.
Glorb?
Oh, dude, I gotta show you.
No.
It's interesting. It's pretty interesting.
This guy does these SpongeBob raps and has all these different SpongeBob characters in them.
It's actually really good.
And
it's like animated or something. Yeah. There's okay. Yeah.
But he uses.
I think I've seen them.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
No.
So the way he does that is, he writes he writes the music and he writes all the lyrics, but then he uses AI to change his voice to make it sound like
SpongeBob.
Yeah. And I think that's awesome.
That is cool.
I think that's like a cool application for it.
I agree.
That being said, it's not good for artists. Like, it's not good for art as a medium, really. Like, it's pretty scary, for sure.
Because if you want to get like album art, you would find an artist. You know what I mean? You would pay that artist, and that would also employ another. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a cycle of
someone put up something that was like, AI grants access to skill for the wealthy, and it removes access to wealth for the skilled.
Yeah, that's fucking interesting, man.
Well, and I like,
a good example of what y'all are talking about, when I release on Spotify any of my sync music, any of my orchestrated pieces that are are strictly to be trying to be sold.
Yeah.
I will have an AI art generator generate me a picture to release on there. Okay. Because that's commercial music. That's what I'm using that and I'm using it as a tool to make it easier on my overhead. I don't have to pay an artist.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
My record that I'm working on, I'm absolutely getting the people that are going to be involved in being on it are as authentic as I can get for the sake of that, because that is my artwork. It's not my commerce.
Right.
So
that's a good way to put it.
What I was going to say about the wealthy thing is, like, if you're wealthy, you can just pay someone to do some shit, right? Like you
Right.
can just pay an
Yeah,
artist.
that's
Right.
what everything revolves around.
Like if you have the money, you can do this without AI. What it actually does is give this ability to people who don't have money, right?
Right.
Because
Fair
like for example, we use AI for our intro, and I'm sure people have an issue with that. But also, like, what are we gonna do? Pay someone to
And
make
film
a
it.
fucking
Nobody
Little
that has
short
an
film.
issue with it has ever come and offered to
like I don't have the
for
money.
Reshoot
free
it.
or
Right.
for
Yeah.
how-
Do you
for
think it'll ever
$5.
get to a point where fucking like AI just automates society to a point where like we don't need like jobs or like
It definitely
money
could.
even, like everything is just free, like because AI just fucking wipes our ass for it.
Was the question if it could or would?
Do you think it could?
It definitely could.
100%.
Definitely could.
And do you think if it did, like, would that be a detriment to society, or would that be?
Yes, because
Yeah.
struggle is essential for humankind, human growth, human understanding, human consciousness.
Yeah,
All of those
especially
things.
in
Without
growth,
any
dude.
kind of struggle, and there is no growth, there is no change. Like, and that is
It would
100%
definitely be
a
detrimental.
possibility.
Well,
it just
it'd be
gets dumber,
detrimental.
you know. Like people get
Utopia,
softer
yeah.
and people get dumber, you know.
There's a
And,
utopian rat experiment that they did years and years ago, where they entire colony of rats, and they didn't have to do anything. They fed them,
just got fat and
it really freaked them out. I mean, they ended up dying
Yeah.
off because they stopped reproducing.
mhm,
You know, there was no
motivation.
There's no motivation to do anything. All the males wouldn't pursue
Breed.
anything.
Right.
You lack a purpose. And,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
We're there without AI because of like
Agreed.
just automation, right? Like not automated thinking even, but just automation in our food process. Like we don't have to hunt for food.
Right. The survival of the
Instead,
fittest is
yeah.
out the window now with us.
Yeah.
We
And
don't
we
even have to
already-
have farmers anymore because that's all automated and run by.
And that's some
you know,
scary
there's only,
shit.
There's only certain crops that you have to have people go pick.
That's
Yeah.
scary shit.
I think at the end of the day, there will always be things though that people need to do themselves. You know.
Oh, I mean,
You know.
they'll definitely feel that way. Yeah. People that need purpose, they need to like do things
Yeah.
for sure.
I feel like the AI singularity is inevitable, like because there's so much information that is going into systems that we
I agree
probably
with that.
don't even know about, man. I mean, like the servers that exist right now that feed like Instagram and Google and the internet and all that kind of shit, those are all publicly known probably, but
Mhm.
there are definitely massive fucking server farms that we probably don't know about that are with companies, people like, I mean, even Elon Musk and whoever the fuck else, dude, Zuckerberg and all these crazy fuckers. And all of that information that goes into the internet, man, is absolutely being compiled somewhere. And it is inevitable that that much information compiled over that long of a period of time, and it's exponentially like grown. If you think about the way technology's gone, as far as like, dude, a phone that we have now, that shit was fucking Star Trek science fiction in the 80s when I was a kid, man. Even almost into the 90s, dude.
And that's us merging with it when we have
Yeah.
that cell phone.
So it is
Like
inevitable
the only thing,
because your consciousness is
the only way we survive is to merge with AI.
But AI is just technology. And all technology has done that. We worried about automation, getting rid of people's jobs for eons now, and they have.
I feel like this is different though, because it will become conscious in some form.
I think it already is.
Probably.
That gets into a whole thing. People.
And also,
define
yeah, how
what
are you
is-
defining
what is
consciousness?
Sure,
Yeah.
You
exactly.
know, and no scientist or computer theorist has ever said what consciousness
Right.
is,
Yeah.
and then turn around and explain how
In order-
AI
yeah.
is gonna.
That's why I
In
love
order to
listening to
determine-
like Alan Watts and stuff. Like you can't determine it, man. Yeah,
In order
it's
to
beautiful.
determine what consciousness is with the computer, we have to understand what consciousness is with an organic thing,
Right,
like a
which we
person,
don't.
which we don't have no idea what the
Right.
fuck is going on.
But it's weird because I feel like there's so many like, you know, similarities in nature and like the digital world. Like a lot of things in nature are like pretty mathematic and like there's like
100%.
they're pattern based and like you think it's random, but it's actually like
The golden ratio, the spiral. of
yeah,
all
it's
this-
like
all that
there's
shit, yeah,
you know
absolutely.
there's weird kind of coincidences and like weird kind of like I feel like laws of the
I
universe
feel like it's
or
set up.
something. You
I
know,
feel
It's
universe
not
is
really a
definitely set up.
coincidence because
Yeah.
we are
No,
with
it's not.
nature and we are with design.
Yeah.
And so that's all we had to base the design from is mathematics and
oh
science.
yeah,
So, you know, it's kind of like what came first, chicken or the egg? You know, the Fibonacci sequence was always there, but
Right.
it wasn't the Fibonacci sequence because
Right.
we weren't there to call it that.
Right. And we only call it that because we understand like 1% of how all this shit actually works. You know what I mean?
We call it that because we use it to apply to tools for technology.
Right. Well, I just mean in general, when we put names to those
Right.
theorems and those mathematical things that humanity has discovered thus far, and all that really is cause and effect shit. Like our finite minds can only observe that and then go, okay, well, this does this does that, and then you end up with the fucking atomic bomb.
Werner von Braun. What I'm kind of curious of too, and this might be kind of good, like too deep in the rabbit hole, but like
Never.
Are there is there consciousness on like different scales of the universe? You know, is like because you could, you know, to me, it's like the internet in itself is a universe. You know, it's like there's a universe at the cellular like level. There's the universe on the macroscopic, like
think about
you know,
ants and a hive mind. Anything with a hive mind.
Yeah,
I mean, their communication really can't explain it. I mean, talk about setting all this, but
it really seems like their fingers are the same
going
thing.
on.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
They're telepathic.
It's like in the jungles with certain animals, with monkeys that know how to use tools.
Right.
Some do, some don't. And if they don't teach, but then there's some things that they teach that just seems to get known. You know.
Right.
So we were talking about determinism a minute ago, like everything being out of our control, and what I meant by that is like every decision you make is based on shit you've gone through, you know, and also like your biology, and like we didn't decide that, you know, our parents brought us in the world at that time and that location, and then everything is just a roll of the dice. So it's like we do make this is in like I recently learned about compatibility theory, which is that you can have free will and everything is determined. Like both things can be true.
I think there's a duality in like the universe and kind of like with everything. You know, there's a yin to the yang. You know, there's like it can't just be like so black and white that there's just like everything is predetermined. I feel like there's things that may like always lead to the same end, but there's like free will and choices you can make along the way. You know, and it's like, you know, and then like I don't know. You can't really read into the future too, so it's like you never really know if it is truly predetermined, you know, because there's always that kind of like I don't know.
I think we do know that it's predetermined though, because we know that everything you do is based off of something. Even if you have a random thought,
it was influenced somehow by something.
Yeah, even if it's just like a random firing in your brain, like a random like synapse connection that just was random, it's still that was the thing that made you do that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like it's always out of our control. But yet at the same time, we make decisions. Like both of those things can be true. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's like Schrodinger's cat, dude. It's like fucking dead and alive until you know. Like,
it's kind of like a paradox.
Well, yeah, it is a paradox. It's like trying to understand infinity. Like it exists outside of our understanding. We know that. So if you can accept that, that is another form of letting go too.
Yeah, we were talking about the singularity earlier. I think that's inevitable too. And I started telling you about this earlier, but like, I realized this. And it makes sense. Like this is also like what religion says, but I realized it just tripping mushrooms is that everything is breathing. Like in the Bible, the name of God is like an inhale and then an exhale. So it's like it's the start and the end. It's everything.
The alpha and the omega, dude.
Yeah. And like I think God splits itself into everything, and then it comes back together. And then it splits itself, and then comes back together. And then also that's how the universe is, like the physical universe. Like we have a Big Bang, which is like a pinprick. It's like nothing. It's basically nothing.
But everything in that one.
Press. And then it explodes and goes out. And they think with the heat death, eventually everything will start contracting.
Big crunch. Yeah.
So it'll all come back in, and then once it does, it'll explode out.
Right. And how many times has that happened in infinity? We don't.
Time is something we made up.
Totally.
It doesn't start or end. It's just, so like we experience it right now, but if you are not in it, it would just look like you see it all at the same time.
The flat circle thing.
Yeah. It's a circle.
Yeah.
You're just looking at a circle.
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, you can point at like one little spot in the circle, but the whole thing, we experience time.
All
but
of time and
doesn't
space
exist.
would be there at once, and you could look at all of, like, what does he say? He's like, all of matter existed in a superposition at one time. You could see everything at once because we exist inside the sphere. We experience the 3 dimensions, and then straight ahead time, we process it linearly, just one way. But if you could pull yourself out of that and look at it from a 4th dimensional perspective, looking down at it instead of a sphere, it would be a circle. And everything that's ever happened or will happen would be right.
You can look at all of it at the same time. I think that we will merge with robots, and we'll all be a hive mind. Like,
that's fucking
I
terrifying.
hear the hive
dude.
mind thing, dude.
Like we won't even have different thoughts. Like we will be ants. Like you and I both we're all thinking the same thing, and we all have different jobs to do because we all are thinking the same thing.
That's bad.
Now what's gonna happen is we're gonna go, this fucking sucks. And we're gonna upload our minds into a matrix, into a video game, so we can pretend that we are different things. We can go back to being individuals.
Oh, Lord.
And then the question becomes, how many times have we done that?
Yeah, how do we know that?
How many levels in that are we?
Jesus, man.
So
talk about rabbit holes, Rob. Rob's like, I don't know how far you want to go.
Shit, dude.
And what's scary about that to me is like it's so simple. Like it's easy to understand and explain. And that like I think people, like at least myself, like I want things to be complicated so there's something to figure out. But that's so simple. It's like you're just looking at it now. Once you understand that, you're like, well, fuck. That's where we're at.
I feel like the simple, elegant solutions are always like the best, you know. And lots of times it's not, you know. But when it is, it's just like satisfying, and it's, I don't know. It's,
that's what they call Occam's razor. It's, you know, the simplest explanation is the best, basically. And also, like,
some music is, I feel like a lot of the time, you know. I like music that's simple but sweet, and for me, it's like I always have my biggest issues always like overcomplicating things that don't need to be complicated, you know. It's like you listen to all the new popular shit today, it's pretty fucking stupid. You know, I'm sitting there in Longhorn eating the steak listening to some fucking top 40 country song by fucking,
they're not interesting. They're just not, I don't know, they're not good.
Yeah, it's just like it's like AI.
It's easy to make simple music interesting. You know what I mean? Like if you just stop and think about it for a couple of minutes and go, okay, let's put a breakdown here, let's put a couple of weird pauses here, or like, you know,
if you have a creative bone in your body, you can do it.
Yeah.
You know,
and
you can
love
take something.
It. Like it's just easy. It's fun.
But
you are a consummate musician, man. Like
thank you, dude. I appreciate it, man.
Like playing as many instruments as you do, as well as you do, singing as well as you do, like
Thanks,
performing
dude.
as well as you do.
That's a good point.
Just again, consummate musician.
Yeah, you have it's clear you have an understanding of music because you don't just do one thing. Like you understand the thing, so you can kind of jump in and out.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I love about music is like kind of like the duality of, you know, like left brain and right brain with music. It's like there's an analytical side to music, and then there's like this whole like kind of artistic, like free, like open, like side of it too. That's more conceptual and like less like, you know, by the rules. But then there's also that part of music that is like structured and like disciplined, and also just like scales and theory and shit, and like that's kind of what drew me in to music. Like honestly, like I love that side of music, but I also love like the, you know, the creative side of it too, you know. So I don't know.
It's gotta be a balance, right?
Being able to marry those two things is what I think the definition of soul is. Like when you say there's soul in music, is taking like the theory and the very like cold, hard mathematical facts of the scales and the fact that there's actually only 7 notes and there's just like and then taking that and being able to, like you said, put the right brain to it, which is, you know, the creative side of the brain and the abstract thinking side of the brain, and marrying it in such a way that another person feels it. Not just hears it, but feels it. Like that's soul.
It's to me, it's like a tool, like it's a utility that you use to like skill and technique and shit. That's all just like a tool to express what you want in like the clearest way possible. And sometimes in the funny thing is like that influences your creativity too. Like I feel like when like you know, I remember when I like first listened to music and it was like I couldn't hear like the kick drum. I didn't know. I just heard everything as a collective like sound that was coming into me, and I was like experiencing it for the first time. And it's like, and it's hard to like get back to that point. It's hard to put yourself in that mindset again. It's hard to like listen to music that way anymore. You know, it's like when you become like trained and you have like a trained ear with music, it's like you know, you analyze music differently, so you create different things that like people that, you know, aren't trained or don't have a trained ear, like they don't experience the same thing. They're not listening to music the same way you're listening to music, you know,
because we're constantly breaking it down in your head, like you
said.
Like I do remember a time when I was young enough that I didn't do that, but like I think I was like in 7th grade maybe. My dad like pointed out very specifically, like listening to this bass part, like listening to the Beatles. He's like, that's Paul McCartney, that's the bass line. And my dad specifically pointed out like how it was. And again, it's like forever afterwards, you can't unsee it, you can't unhear it.
Yeah, you can't like understand it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, once you know something, you can't unlearn it. Yeah.
And like knowing, I feel like knowledge is a rabbit hole in itself. I feel like when you know something, that opens up a whole branch of new shit that it's like you didn't even know that you didn't even know. You know, and it's like
the more you learn, the less you know.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very much more eloquent.
No,
suffice way to say that.
Socrates said that it was the only true knowledge consists in knowing that you know
nothing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The more I learn, I'm like, I don't know shit.
That's a good attitude to have.
Shit.
It's true wisdom, I feel like. You know?
Yeah. So you were telling me earlier that you saw some weird things happen with like Ouija boards and stuff like that when you were younger. I want to hear some stories.
Yeah, man. So fucking this is like, so I went to school in Boston, and it was like our first like week was like this orientation week. We were just no classes. We were all just getting acclimated to this new environment, because I feel like that's just a thing college does. You know, there's an orientation, freshman orientation and shit, and like there's, you know, it wasn't the first day. It was like first week though of school. I was living on the top floor of my dorm. Like I went to school at like Berkeley College of Music, and I was living in the dorms.
You went to Berkeley?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
And I was living on the top floor, and I didn't know anybody, but there was like, I was right next to the practice rooms. They have practice rooms on every floor, so you can just go in and practice, you know, your instrument or whatever. So I was like right next to there. And I was coming back from, I don't know, dinner or something, and there was like this Asian chick. Her name was Julia Tong. This drummer who ended up being my drummer for like a while. His name's Mark Polite, fucking awesome drummer. And this chick named Maya, she played harp. She was this really tall, like chick, and could really play the harp too. You know, she was good. Wow. And there's somebody else too, but there was like this group of people, and they had just come out of the practice rooms, and they looked fucking white as a ghost, man. Like, and I'm just like, hey, you know, what's up? How's it going? You know, you look like you just saw a ghost. And so what, you know, they were saying what happened was like, you know, they started doing this Ouija board, and at one point in time, like her hand just like started, like it just like went up.
Mm-hmm.
And then like there was like a red like imprint of like a hand on her arm, like where it like picked her like arm up, and then it just like let her, you know, let it down. But it was weird too, because they said it like happened with her hair too, like her hair went up. You know, which is pretty you know,
that is
pretty spooky.
Yeah.
And then that became like a trend, like so you know, like that was just what people fucking did like for like 2 weeks, and then like it kind of got out of hand, and they had to like burn the shit. They had to I don't know. There was like a process in how you like get rid of a Ouija board. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but yeah. So like and I saw her fucking hand, dude. Like it had the red imprint on it. I didn't see her hair fucking go up or anything, but her fucking hand was.
This was at the dorms.
Yeah.
Okay. That's wow. That's interesting.
Yeah, so that was my like only experience with like Ouija boards, but
anything weird happened to you as a kid?
Not really. I mean, like I just I had there was one time I saw like I don't know if it was like sleep paralysis or something, but like I saw it was like a shadow kind of figure, like
While
move across. Yeah, it was like I remember I like woke up and my eyes were like barely open, and I probably checked my phone, because sometimes I'll just wake up in the middle of the night, but and I remember like being like half asleep and just like my blinds were open a little bit so I could see some like moonlight kind of shining in, but I remember seeing this figure just kind of walk across the bedroom, like from the window, like across the dresser to the door. And I was just like, I don't know, I'm like half asleep. I don't really even know what's going on. I don't know. I don't feel like threatened or scared, but it was just a kind of weird. I don't even know if it was like a dream or something, but
were you stuck in place?
No, I remember being able to move. I don't know how livid I was really at the moment. It's not like I had gotten fucked up or something the night before. I mean, like I just went to bed like normal. I just woke up really randomly. I didn't have to like even go to the bathroom or anything. I just woke up, checked my phone, like kind of, looked at like my feet and just saw like this figure like move across the room.
Yeah. We've done, this is episode 196, and I ask everybody.
196.
I ask everybody about this, and I've heard so many sleep paralysis stories, and it's happened to me too. It's really interesting to me. Mm-hmm. Like, what the fuck is going on with that? Because like people see things, like they see things right when they wake up too. It's like I don't know what to make of that. It's very weird.
Yeah, I mean, I don't either. I mean, it's
you're sort of between dimensions in that moment when you wake up and when you come from actual sleep back to reality.
It's crazy how real dreams can be, man.
That was where I was going.
I had I had a scary dream the other night, and I don't remember the details, but I did wake up in a sweat. It's like,
whatever that
dude, I'm waking up in fucking like tears, dude, just like fucking pouring down my face. I'm like, what the like?
The fact that you can get that emotional in whatever a dream is, to the point that like when I see certain people in my dreams, and that's usually the most powerful dreams that I personally have, like in my life right now anyway, is like I see two specific people, like
I see my little sister a lot.
Man, like it's like I'll wake up with these crazy emotions. Like I did actually just see and interact with like a person who passed away or another person who I haven't seen in forever. So it is weird how it can emotionally affect you.
Yeah.
So that could be a dimension that does exist out there somewhere. Like this ethereal kind of like that's molded by your consciousness when it enters that realm. You know what I mean? And
that's kind of like when you study magic, like when you read like books about magic, specifically chaos is like it's either your imagination or it's something else, right? But like we talked about this yesterday.
It doesn't matter.
Your imagination is so like your mind is so the subconscious mind. Like the conscious mind is just like the top of it, but there's a whole iceberg of your subconscious that
ego and personality and like
you could so it really doesn't matter if it's in your head or not, like because how would you know the difference? There's no way to know.
Yeah, it's all part of one, it's all part of perception, I feel like.
Yeah,
And in between are the doors.
It's life is crazy. It's a weird ride we're on, guys. Especially right now. Things are really weird right now.
Yeah.
Things are about to get even weirder.
Strange things are afoot at the
2 months.
Oh yeah. Are y'all ready? Are y'all gonna go out and?
I can't vote. I'm a felon, so.
I can't vote. I'm an anarchist.
Respect,
No matter
dude.
how much they try to get me to.
Not won't,
Yeah.
can't.
I don't know.
It's man.
I registered.
I feel
I'm
like
going to be out of the country. I'd like to. I mean, I've never
what kind
voted.
of choice is this?
Yeah,
What kind of choice is this?
it's like on South Park between a fight.
The
What
dude-
was
the
it?
giant douche
Douchebag
and
a
the
fucking-
giant turd. Yeah, like
Yeah.
turd sandwich. Giant
Yeah.
douche and the turd sandwich.
I think my hang up is if you vote, you're saying that you think votes matter.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I don't.
It's
I
like
don't
George
think
Carlin said.
they counter votes. I think
I
it's
don't blame
all a
you.
fucking game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that we keep falling for.
Yeah.
That we keep like, oh, what we're doing matters. Like, no, it doesn't. The only
we're just slowly fucking nobodies.
Circus.
Yeah.
It is a circus.
instead of voting, I just like if I want to do something, just
I'll sell
Maybe
weed to
not
my
say
fucking
that.
neighbor.
I was gonna say, like, I hate to say it, but it's like, there's
I was
a
gonna
lot
say
to be
blow up
said
a
for all
building,
the states of
but-
consciousness and being creative in those states. You were gonna say what? Blow up a
blow
building?
up a building.
Yeah, don't say that on camera.
Alice isn't gonna tell me.
I'm just, we don't talk about Fight Club, dude. So,
This costs them a lot of money. Like
what is it? Project
Fight
Mayhem.
Club.
Project Mayhem. Is that it?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's just
so with all the stuff with the circus and the topic of conversation, the thing with JD Vance, the guy that Trump has got for his VP, right? So,
Oh yeah, what were you
like,
telling me
okay,
about
so
that?
a couple of days ago, he wrote an autobiography, all right, and there's stuff in it. I guess it's pretty whatever, but like some person on the internet, one internet like journalist took a quote in that thing completely out of context and wrote an article saying that that he had fucked a couch. That was the tagline of the article. I'm not exaggerating this. And the internet ran the fuck off with it to the point that it was like kind of ridiculous. And then of course it was completely debunked to the point that even someone like Bill Maher was like, "Hey, y'all are fucking idiots." Like,
I
what
checked
are
this
you
couch
doing?
for cum. It
Yeah,
wasn't there.
right? Like,
This is
so,
debunked.
but
Definitely didn't happen.
we took the black light.
the
I'm
point
not
is
convinced. I
that
think he
they'll
fucked the
they'll
couch.
say anything, they'll do anything. But the other crazy thing that was really hilarious was like in that book apparently, and again I just saw this, and the only reason I would know this is because Bill Maher was talking about it, but in the book he's talking about JD Vance says that he, when he was 8 years old, thought that he might be gay, and he went to his grandmother, who he called Mama, who was like in her, I don't know, 80s or 90s at the time maybe.
And she beat the shit.
No, she asked him, this is quoted in the book, like this is what it says. She goes, "Well, do you think you want to suck dick?" And he goes, "No, Mama, I don't." She goes, "Okay, well, if you're gay, you're gonna have to suck dick." So, and then she goes, "I would love you either way." Apparently that's what he said, she said, okay, right? And this is a woman who grew up in the Depression, kind of like my great grandmother or whatever. And I mean, the point, I guess, of that is that I think like our culture is at a baseline much more tolerant than the internet and the news sources and like the general public discord would have you believe.
Yeah.
Right. And I
Yeah,
mean,
oh yeah, for sure.
I'm not saying that there's not problems, and I'm not saying that like things like fucking the black experience in America, like the race thing, I'm not saying that doesn't exist. It absolutely does.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of it that is like it's blown out of proportion by the cultural discord and the
There
side.
will always be propaganda,
And
there
that's
will
what it
always
is.
be like hyperbole and just like blowing shit out of proportion, just to make the people like feel just to like sway them however way they want to.
And the AI is absolutely
The only like annoying super woke people I know are white people. Like no one else is doing that shit. It's just white
And
people.
I feel like it's a
dumb.
lot of like younger like college people and shit, and like just
And they don't have the perspective.
They just I think they don't like. I don't know. I think part of it too is like you get older and then you have to fucking like take care of yourself and fucking like pay your bills, and you don't worry about like fucking I don't know, like just political like bullshit, like outside shit that doesn't affect you, it's like, hey, it all affects you, whatever, but like it's, I don't know, you get focused in on like you and like surviving and just fucking like having to deal with what you got and making the most of what you got in this world. And it's like, all that fucking other shit doesn't like really matter. I feel like if you really want to make a fucking impact, like, go and,
blow up a building.
I was gonna say like participate in the fucking local government. I feel like it's, but
I wish I thought
that shit hurts me when you say that. So from Oklahoma, and I was like,
oh, not an occupied.
I know that. I'm just fucking with you.
But I mean, dude, there's a lot
bad
of
building.
A bad
dude,
building. Oh yeah,
I mean,
bad ones out there.
there's a lot of like corruption and shit that you don't even know about that goes on like on a local like community like level with the police department and the freaking like judges and the freaking
Dude, the Oklahoma City Police Department and sheriff, not the police, but the sheriff, the Oklahoma County Sheriff was one of the most corrupt cops like in the entire fucking country. That fucker, Sheriff Wetzel, got investigated so much, man. Like, and it was like an open secret. Like when I would go to the county jail there, like which I went to many times in Oklahoma, like for weed, constantly. They would throw you in county for fucking nothing, man. And
it sucks.
like, yeah, it was just, you're right. The level of corruption is incomprehensible.
Yeah.
And we only have, it goes back to the determinism thing. It's like, we literally only have control over, like you were saying, you get locked into sort of not survival mode exactly, but you take care of yourself.
We're all tired and distracted. Like we're busy and we're all tired and we don't have the time or energy to do anything about it. And that's true. Like we're all there. Like, what are we gonna do? Like, I have to work tomorrow. It's
right,
like,
dude. Right.
Yeah,
dude.
I mean, there's not a lot realistically that like, I mean, there's a lot of things we could do.
Well, I mean, what we're doing right now, sort of.
There's a lot of things we could do. We're just
I think it's
being
just
pussies
like,
about it.
Yeah, no, and I think that's a big part of it too. I think a lot is, and I'm guilty of it, dude. I think we're all guilty of it, and I think it's important to not fucking beat yourself up about it because I think everybody beats themselves about like being a lazy piece of shit and stuff. But like, I don't know. I don't know. Fuck, I don't know.
Did you grow up religious?
A little bit, like, and like. I mean, I've been baptized and shit, but I'm not. Like,
what denomination? Like,
I don't even want to.
Like, okay,
but it was Christian. It was Protestant. It was Seventh-day Adventist. So we fucking big on the Old Testament.
Yeah, I was.
Big on Jesus and shit too, but I'm big on that Old Testament, dude.
I don't think we ever talked about it, but I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness.
Oh fuck, that's even more fucked up than the SDAs, dude.
Yeah.
Shit.
You do consider that to be
seven? Yeah, fuck yeah, it's a cult. Seventh-day Adventist is pretty wild too.
It is.
The reason I ask is
strange people, for sure.
What something to do with what we were just talking about right before that. Determinism thing. No.
I mean, they're good people, though. I mean, they're not like, even though they're a little weird, it's like,
I do beat myself up about it, like not being able to fix the world because I was raised super Christian. And I'm like, I have to Jesus myself, like sacrifice myself to fix it.
Martyr yourself.
Like that shit is in me. Like that, they like drilled that in me. And like, even though I'm not a Jehovah's Witness anymore, I'm still like, I gotta do everything I can till I fucking die. Like, and honestly, like, I don't know if that's wrong. Like, honestly, like, yes, it is wrong. We shouldn't like, don't kill yourself. But also, we all could be doing more, right? All of us.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you can always do.
I agree with you. I don't think
we could
necessarily.
We could turn this boat around.
Yeah.
We could fucking.
But at the same time, dude,
this
not everybody's freaking Michael Jordan or like Tom Brady. Like, not everybody's just go ham every day. Just like, I think it's like, I don't know. I'm not condoning freaking,
That's probably
Johnny Cash. Rest in peace.
Indeed.
But I don't know. It's like there's a healthy balance of like rest and like enjoying life and being motivated and like getting shit done.
Sure.
There's a healthy balance there.
Yeah, like you said. I think all things in moderation, right? Like we have to take shit seriously, but not like like you said, beat ourselves up.
I mean, at the end of the day, you have to have something to look forward to, man. Like everything is about like conflict resolution. Like that's.
I think a lot of. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying it's like that's what everything's based around, and like you need. I don't know, like it's weird how your body and your mind like have to be used. It's like they go into atrophy if you like, like I've broken bones, like, and they don't freaking work if you don't use them. And and I've been in bed where I couldn't freaking do anything for a week or something, and it's like when you're it's just I don't know, and it's like I don't know. I feel like like a lot's everything just kind of like everything's always like working in the chaos, and it's like it takes so much energy to just like I don't know push forward and like be positive sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's fine to give in. I feel like sometimes too. It's like
we're all
like,
human,
Yeah.
No, for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. It's yeah. Religion, dude.
Religion, dude.
I mean, it's good. I feel like religion is good for a couple things, man. I think it instills like a moral compass in you.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, I got a lot of issues because of how I was raised, but I'm also like, I mean, I'm glad it happened because I know a lot because of that.
Yeah,
for sure. There's a lot of good in it, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think it can also be like really bad, like.
There's a lot of bad in it too.
Yeah. I think it can start like wars and stuff. But like, it's just.
The problem is not the book. The problem is the people.
Yeah.
Right?
Same thing with like guns and like anything. The problem's always the people and like radical people that just like go overboard with like, this belief or like, I don't know, this premonition or whatever they have, like, and they're just fanatical about it and they have to. I don't know. It's it's everything's about balance, dude. Everything's about the duality of like light and dark, good and bad, and like you can't be too much of anything because that's just not how it works, dude. You gotta have some sort of balance, and if you're a fanatic one way or the other about anything, it's like it's a bad thing,
Like about balance also, it's like you can imagine death as like just this void where it's nothing. Like there is nothing. And we can't even imagine what that's like. Because what does nothing look like, But there is nothing. And then you can imagine that there's like something. And I guess that thing would be consciousness, right? It's like it's alive. It exists. So like something exists and something doesn't exist. I don't know, like we don't know what those things would be like to like I'm saying to exist and not die.
Yeah, what is your definition of like existence though?
Okay, so I'll kind of get to there. I'm taking a long route to get there, but basically like if you just are in heaven or nirvana and you just are and there's nothing else, it's just you. I don't know that would be any different than there being nothing. Like, what's the difference? Like, if it just is, or it just isn't, like, what would those things be like? You know what I mean? And what I'm saying is, like, back to what you're saying about balance is like,
it's the duality.
This, where we're at right now, where it's like, you are alive, but you will die. And it's like that, where the rubber meets the road, where these things connect, is what I guess existence is. We can't live forever with like no concept of death. Like it wouldn't be like this at all. Like this has value because we die.
Yeah. It's like, and if there was no death, there would be no purpose of anything, there'd be no it was like it's like there is no good without bad, and there is no bad without good, and like man, it's I mean, I kind of think like existence is like anything that could be like observed, it's it's
or the thing that observes.
Yeah.
The thing that's doing the observing.
Yeah. But yeah, man, it's
I think that we are all the same thing. Like the only thing that makes us different is shit we've been through and biology.
But it's all some sort of variant of like something somebody else has already experienced too,
But
actually,
like the soul
kind of,
part, like the part that is like that's experiencing, is the same for everybody. I think
it's funny because you mentioned the hive mind thing earlier. There was this thing I saw. It was like this article I was reading about, like this thing with like engineers and architects, how they had to like design this bridge to like withstand like this certain rhythm of like people like walking across it. There was like this pedestrian bridge, and like they time lapsed, and it was like you could see there was like this rhythm of like people walking across it, and it would like stress the freaking bridge, and they had to freaking design this bridge around like this certain pattern, like people just walk in like subconsciously, like or just like they're not even thinking about it, they're just walking throughout their regular day. And it's like it's weird that's like there's like, is that coincidence, is that like predetermination, is that like the fucking universe just being like, we're just this is part of the fucking program, this is part of the encryption on like what like life this program is, like I don't know, what is it,
it's all of the things you just said. It's all of those things at the same time.
Yeah. It's equally coincidental as it is like intentional. And I think that's kind of like, I totally agree with you on that point, man. I think like it's weird, and it's weird how that can coexist. It's like it's hard to wrap your mind around. I feel like it's like a paradoxical, like like philosophical like issue. I feel like that two things that juxtapose each other like can coexist that way, but it just is, you just have to accept it.
Because I've done a lot like so like whenever I use like a Ouija board or something, I'm usually also on mushrooms or acid, because those things like open you up to, and it, dude, like you can make some shit happen without it.
Mind, dude.
Yeah. You can make some shit happen without that, but if you take something that gets you out of your regular way of thinking, it's like not 10 times stronger, it's like 100 times stronger. Like you can go so much farther with that. But because I've done that, like I've opened up doors to places that I cannot shut. They're just there. It's like you were saying earlier, like when you know something, that's with you forever. You cannot unlearn something.
Yeah, but it's like you change in like different stages of your life, like you're not a virgin no more. Like you change. I feel like you even evolve. Physically, dude, like it's like there, and there's like kind of like little pit stops along the way, and it's like it's, or like certain experiences, like certain like even like PTSD and stuff, but it's like certain things you can't unsee, certain experiences you can't like unexperience,
PTSD and like trauma is a good example, because you can use mushrooms to wake yourself up and like open your third eye, or like this can happen with trauma when you didn't mean for it to, like kids becoming adults immediately when something bad happens to them, or they see something bad, it's like you just woke up.
Yeah, you just screwed the fuck up.
Yeah. It's so anyway, I'm not fun to trip around. I kind of had, this is funny, I had like a panic attack at Possum Stock because I got it in my head that, I don't think I've told this on the podcast, but I got it in my head that I was like, how do you know for sure that most people haven't been replaced with robots or like aliens? How do you know? And not only that, but I'm at this music festival tripping balls, And I'm like, I don't fucking trust you. I don't fucking trust you. I trust you. I trust you. I know you're a human being. Don't leave my sight though. Like I was like, if I don't see you for a little bit, I don't trust you anymore. You could be snatched up.
In real time.
Oh,
He was discussing this with me.
I was very vocal about it with everyone I talked to. I'm like, yeah, I think maybe there's like robots walking around right now, and I don't fucking trust anybody. I was like confrontational about it, dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm ready to fight somebody. You're like, I don't think you're a human.
Yeah.
Prove to me. Prove you're not a robot right now. But like, because it was a music festival too, I was watching some bands, and I'm like, you're not a robot because you make good music. A robot couldn't do that.
Robots don't have soul, man. Drum machines don't have souls.
So anyway, what do you think about aliens? Okay, so everyone I've ever asked about this thinks aliens exist because duh, right? But like, do you think they've ever been here, or do you think they're here right now?
I don't know, I feel like Egypt had played some role in all this, dude. I feel like they, we don't know enough shit about Egypt, I don't know. I think that there's, I don't know, man. Like, cause I don't know, like, cause I grew up, kind of religious, but I really don't know, like, how many like biblical like artifacts have been like found, and like how far do they date back, and like how like does the story match up? Like, I don't really know all like that shit, dude. Like, I'm just, I just not like that well versed in like history and shit, but like.
We'll bookmark that. Go back to that.
Yeah. It's like, and I don't know if I even really believe much. I don't really try to think about it because I just go like, I just, I don't know. It just gets too like deep. I feel like at times, but
the Carl Sagan outlook, it's like we can't conceive that, so I'm not going to waste my time trying to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Nobody
Exactly.
knows.
I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't believe we came from fucking like fish. They like just came out of the fucking water and just started fucking flopping around, and grew some legs.
So what do you
became
I'm a
monkey?
retarded fish monkey. Not fuck the frog.
Fuck the freaking tree squirrel, dude.
Okay.
Dude.
All right.
I don't like necessarily believe that, but like there's had to be like we had to come from something. I'm sure. I don't think it was monkeys, but like.
Okay. I think I'm on the same page here. Okay, so I agree with you that nobody knows. Nobody fucking knows. Some people act like they know. It's like, oh, I know what happens when I die. No, you fucking don't.
Right.
Yeah.
Dude, you can be so wrong. Like you don't know shit. Like knowing, we were talking about this earlier, like what you know is jack shit. You don't know shit. Like Descartes, I think, therefore I am. What the fuck does that mean? That's just fucking words. We don't even know that. We don't know shit. I might not be here. Like, this may not exist. So, like, so nobody knows. Nobody knows where we came from. But does anything make more sense to you than anything else? Like, do you think we came from aliens?
I see. Like, what I believe in is fucking like I believe Earth is an organism. I believe like Earth is like a living like creature. I think it's sentient almost. Like, and I don't know like really what the textbook definition of like sentient is or what intelligent life is.
Yeah,
but
Gaia.
like,
Yeah.
I think animals have like personalities and like souls and stuff. I think like the Earth has, like this, it breathes and stuff.
I agree.
And I think the sun and the, I'm not like big into the stars and constellations and shit, but I believe it's all like, there's gravity, and I think like all that shit fucking like, affects. It's like, but that's the thing. It's like I don't think it's planned out. I think it was like, I don't know what it is. It might just be a program set to fucking run for however long it does. Like there's like a mathematic game where like this. I don't know what it is. It's like where you connect like some, like dots and shit, and like, and it just keeps going for like forever. And some of them, like, if you start them in a certain place, like they end, and and some of them do like these crazy.
Oh, a Mandelbrot set.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
what. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I love
Yeah,
Mandel. I love Mandelbrot says.
Yeah.
You speak in my language.
Yeah, and it's like, and I think like, maybe that's like a fucking, I don't know. I think like that, like that principle at least like exists in reality,
Oh yeah.
Um,
That's like in alchemy, it's as above, so below. So if you can see something.
Great movie, by the way. I don't know if you've ever seen
Oh yeah,
that
that's a good one.
Yeah.
The one where they go into the catacombs.
Yeah.
Paris.
That's a good movie.
Can you imagine what that place must
Stressful.
actually be like during the Black Death and shit like that?
A
Like
coworker of mine went there recently.
it just happened hundreds and hundreds of years.
Do I feel like at any point in history you can like justify it being like an apocalyptic time?
Sure. Every generation feels like it's the end of the world.
Yeah, and I feel like people have been like waiting for the end of the world since the beginning of the world.
That being said, I think we're the one that actually is. Like, of course, I feel that way.
Yeah.
But also, yes.
Yeah.
And maybe maybe that's also because of religious programming. But like, I grew up learning about Revelations,
Right.
Or John's Revelation.
Yeah.
Revelations is a misnomer. But anyway, like I grew up with that shit. So it's like, I don't know. It feels like end times to me.
Yeah.
But maybe also that's by design. It's supposed to keep people on edge.
Like you're supposed to not know everything, dude. Like it's
Yeah.
And it's
I know that's right.
That's the thing. It's like, with science, it's like, and I used to be like, oh, I love science, but I'm like, dude, science is its own fucking religion too. They don't fucking know jack shit. They don't know fucking
You're right.
Big Bang.
Trust the science, bro.
And I'm like, because you keep going, and at a certain point, it's like you can't go any further, dude. It's like we got the atom, we got the quarks, we got all these fucking like, and you can keep on fucking splitting all these fucking like, and keep on going tinier. And it's like at a certain point, it's like.
So the base
sounds like magic to me, dude.
Yeah, you're always just trying to figure out the next thing. Yeah.
When you get down to the bottom level of all of that, you said the quarks breaking down all that shit.
It's just like
they call it the unified field.
Yeah.
Is like that's where like the baseline of everything comes from, all of reality, right? And like if we could vibrate ourselves to that level through meditation or whatever, like Dave Lynch talks about it a lot, but.
And it's like weird. It's like, does it have a mass, like, or is it like, what is it? Like. No, it's like
it's liberating to be able to say I don't know. Like when you talk to a person and they act like they fucking know everything, they're full of shit. Like when you speak to somebody and it's like I don't fucking know. Like that's real.
Yeah. Well, I think you can't grow unless you fucking are seeking knowledge. When you've become like satisfied with your like
get jaded and old.
Yeah,
like I know everything already.
I don't know everything. I'm just jaded and old.
I don't want to hear new music.
Yeah.
All the only good music's the music for my generation.
Get off my lawn.
I'm worse. From before my generation.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, there's some truth to that though.
What you been listening to recently, like in the last week?
Shit, dude. Like honestly, dude, fucking I've been listening to some like David Coverdale, like Deep Purple and like White Snake, dude. Wow. That guy can fucking belt, dude.
Oh yeah.
That guy can fucking wail. But I don't know, just like I don't know. I most of the time I'm like learning stuff, so like a lot of Chili's music and stuff, like my own music I'm like listening to and working on and stuff. But it's just I don't know. It's weird, lots of times it's like I don't even like to listen to music. It's like I think when I do, I feel like when I do, it's like I'm very in the moment with it, and I'm attentive and I'm like actively listening to it. But like lots of times if I'm in the car, it's like I just like it silent, or I just like, some YouTube video, like a documentary or like some sports like
I do a lot of podcasts.
Show or something. Yeah, podcasts. Yeah. Like I don't know, like I like having that, at least in my like riding in the car time.
Yeah.
And so here's my question regarding that then, not the riding in the car time, but the creative process, you being a musician, you said that a lot of time you're working on either learning someone else's stuff to play it or you're working on your own stuff.
It's like, mostly
you hear music in your head, right? Like you actively, because that's how it is for me. I'm sure that's how it is for you. Like when you're just, once you do that and you play parts and you're actively creating music or whatever, like it'll come out of nowhere and you'll hear like or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Like do you hear music in your head like that?
Oh, dude, like yeah, all the time, like lots of times it's like I'll get something stuck in my head, like I remember when I was living with these like lesbians over on like Nolensville Pike. Dude, this one, she was the only cool one, Lily. She would listen to this Nirvana song. Yeah, she was awesome. But she'd go in the bathroom and take a shower, and she'd have Something in the Way by like Nirvana playing. It was just like, that would get stuck in my head, or like I'd hear like
Meat Puppets original.
Like No Rain, or like by Blind Melon, like you'd hear at the grocery store, like, and then then that's kind of stuck in your head, and you're kind of humming it, and then you try to like figure out like ways to like, now I gotta take that and like maybe play it backwards, or like take it and like just mess around with it a little bit and like make it like original.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, or take something like maybe like the rhythm from it and like, I don't know, mesh it with something else. It's like I'm always thinking about stuff like that. Like lots of times I'll just get like inspired from hearing something that, or I'll just be in a place where I'm not really even thinking about it. It's like just something starts coming to me, and like, I gotten to a point now on guitar where it's like I can kind of like hear it in my head and like kind of see what it looks like playing on the guitar. And then like when I'm like done with whatever I need to do, like if I'm taking a shower or like freaking, eating or something, like I can go like to my guitar and like figure out like what my brain's trying to come up with.
That's so cool.
That's like full circle when you were talking about earlier about like when imagination meets understanding. Like when you understand how to use an instrument, you can take what's in your head and make it real.
Yeah.
And
I think the more it's like the clearer a picture you can kind of like paint with it.
Absolutely. It's a good way to say that.
What kind of music was in the house when you were growing up?
So like it's kind of weird. I grew up with like I found my dad's CDs in the car. It was like Judas Priest and like Motley Crue, and then like Collective Soul. So I kind of got into like 90s alternative, and then like because I liked the songs, the songs were just like catchy, and like the guitar was cool. It wasn't like as involved as like Judas Priest or like Motley Crue, but I like that shit too. Like I've always liked rock music. It just like sounded cool to me. Like I just listen to that and be like, dude, that sounds fucking cool, dude. It sounds like fucking just like would get the blood going, just like fucking gets you moving, and like
dude, rock music
is cool, dude.
Kind of cool.
Like there's
I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah,
rock music's kind of cool.
I don't know. That was just me, and like cool is like so like I don't know. Like everybody's got their definition of cool, but like to me, cool was just like people in like leather and like fucking denim and
hell
like,
yeah,
sunglasses and like cool guitars and like making cool distorted fucking riffs and shit. Like that to me was cool, and and like there's music that's like sexy. There's music that's like corny. There's music that's like I love like a lot of the conceptualism of like I love like Iron Maiden and like Pink Floyd, where it's like you listen to it and it makes you feel like I'm on a fucking ship in the middle of the ocean and like I'm a fucking pirate, dude, about to like go to battle or something, dude. Like I love listening to shit like that. Or I'm fucking listening to Dio and it's like I'm on a dragon just fucking like
Dio's fucking awesome.
But
Dio was
awesome. Like I don't know, there's something like that resonated with me with that. So I like that, and and blues, and like I kind of work backwards from that, but that's where I started, was like Judas Priest,
Priest is the shit.
And Motley Crue. Yeah, Judas Priest is sick, dude.
Yeah, one of the greatest fucking Crue, but I love Ron Halford and just that band.
I hate where Motley Crue went, dude, and became like, because I love Mick Mars, dude. I think he's like one of the most underrated guitar players of the 80s.
Agreed.
My recent obsession right now is Neef got me into Mountain. Like just watching,
dude, Leslie West, dude, yeah,
watching their old videos, dude. Because like I knew like Mississippi Queen and like maybe like one or two other songs, but like seeing them play, like watching those videos, I'm like, oh, these guys are the fucking coolest.
Yeah,
they're so fucking cool.
That's sort of the origination of stoner rock in a lot of ways. Them and Sabbath, like that first Mountain album, and then apparently the way they did that shit live, man.
Yeah, man.
It's like pre-metal. Like I think you said that. It's metal before metal happened.
Yeah.
It's where metal came from.
That
I'm
like Inagata Vita would be a big one.
I gotta pee, but I'll keep going.
Man.
I don't know. I think there's like, there's like, and what I love about rock and roll too is like it's just, there's like an attitude and a rawness to it that, and a rebellion to it that like you don't have to be this fucking like drug addict, like degenerate to, you can be like a dentist and be like, like everybody's got this rebellious tendency or like this part to them, I think. And like, I don't know, I think rock music is just so like, it just taps into that so well. And like, I don't know, it feels cool to me and like, it sounds cool. And like, I don't know. And so like, I don't know. I feel like it's an art form that's kind of gotten like lost in a way.
A little bit. There's pockets of it. It's like, you know what I mean? And it's because the way that the information flows so fast now on the internet is just the way that it does. Like the authenticity has gone sort of backwards, and it's like you can only find the actual authenticity of that like in local either pockets or like there are bands and artists that are like that are at that level. But a lot of them are the old guard.
I think
stuff. Some of them are newer. Like you got shit like King Gizzard and stuff like, and that's just a mainstream one that I could throw out there.
I think like a big part of it, honestly, is like sex appeal, and like I think there was a point where like rock music,
Dude, they're going out on the road next year.
Yeah, they're coming here, I think, right?
I don't know. I didn't look at the dates, but
I think they are coming here. I go see Deftones.
I saw them play way back.
But there's got to be something like cool about it, like like
that is a
whether I'm listening to like hip hop or like like country or like there's got to be something in it that's just like got some like swagger to it.
Said,
also, there's got to be like a like a fuck you element, like a fucking
absolutely
like anger.
Absolutely,
like it's cool to be
or just
like
an attitude, just like
attitude is a better word. Anger
or a confidence or something.
It's cool to make like I'm happy, I'm making a song, that's fine. But like, with like rock and hip hop, I listen to a lot of hip hop, and it's like fucking drill rap, like let's go get that bag, like that. It's got to be aggressive. Or
it's like I don't even think it's got to be like aggressive, but it's just got to have this like
attitude,
like attitude, sexy, or just like I don't know. Like,
it can be it can be cool. It can be like not aggressive, but
like a cool. Good hip hop like riff to me is like So Fresh and So Clean by like Outkast, you like that?
Dude, Outkast is so good.
They're
not aggressive at all.
But that's what I'm saying. It's not aggressive, but there's a swagger to it, dude. Like just that riff is like, it's cool.
They're pretty gangster. Like they're not aggressive, but they're fucking gangster.
Lux Interior, the late Lux Interior, front man from France. In an interview, said it better than I've ever heard anybody said when they asked him about rock and roll. He said, because they never called themselves punk or anything else. We're a rock and roll band. That's all any of this is rock and roll. And rock and roll is not a fashion or a type of music. It is the continual sense of urgency and danger.
Urgency and danger.
That's nice. Brilliant. I like that, dude.
And I've always been like, nail on the head. You can't, that's one of the greatest frontmen to ever live.
I got 69.
I think there's things about rock and roll that you have to kind of like to me, like rock has to be kind of like raw, it's got to be like bass, drums, guitar, vocals, like some keys, but like
urgency and danger.
That's kind of the recipe of it. Like it's got to have like that, like I think like when you start adding in like like 808s and shit and like really like messing with it, it's like it's not rock anymore. It becomes something else, and that can be cool too. It's just like I think with rock it's got to like be I don't know, like there's just things that define it,
And the thing that you said about the way it makes you feel, the stuff that you heard, like it's got to be, cool. I mean, for lack of a better term, that's a catch-all term. But you were saying that earlier about the stuff that you listen to, that you hear, that you like. The same goes with the stuff that you play and that you create, right? And so, like, you're making it because you think this sounds cool and good. This is going to sound cool in this part. This is going to sound great. Like, this is going to rock it here. Like, and you're not ever thinking about it in terms of like, I hope someone else likes this. Well, people might not like this. Well, the song might be too long and people won't like it. Like, real, like, good creative rock and roll musicians don't worry about that shit. I don't feel like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you service the song. I mean, and that kind of creative honesty is what makes it urgent and dangerous and real and actual fucking rock and roll, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the rock is the fucking shit, and then the roll is like where the R&B and everything that is from Black America is incorporated into. Does that make sense? Like, that's why those two terms go together. The roll is the Motown. The roll is the fucking like Chuck Berry. The roll is the fucking Robert Johnson. Like, that started whatever rock and roll became. Like, the history of fucking specifically that is so fascinating to me, man.
Yeah, dude.
Like, those fuckers grew up on chain gangs, like him and like Lead Belly and shit. I mean, not Robert Johnson, but like Lead Belly was on a chain gang.
And it's cool, like, seeing like how you can connect, like, freaking, like, you know, Robert Johnson and like, you know, to freaking like, you know, Chuck Berry to like Elvis to like Alice in Chains and Pantera. Like, you can freaking connect all the dots, dude. Like, it's all there, and it's like you can hear like where it's gone, and it's like, you know, a lot of it's like really, you know, it comes out of nowhere. Like grunge, I feel like is like it's a totally like kind of new sound. It's like it's hard to kind of interpret a new sound, you know. It's like, but what, like, it's hard. Like, I can't imagine being in like the 70s and like not hearing Van Halen, and then hearing Van Halen and be like, dude, that's wild. Like, I've never heard anything like that. Like, that's kind of
experienced the grunge thing where it like it was crazy.
Because I mean, like, because I can see like glam metal going from like the 70s, like rock and blues, and like the, you know, kind of like that early, like, you know, England heavy metal and shit. You know, I can kind of see where like, but the grunge to me is like such a fucking left turn out of like nowhere. It's like, but you can kind of hear the, you know, hair metal influence. You can hear the blues influence. You can hear like a lot of that, you know, different influences. But it's just like how they package it was like so like ingenious and like authentic and like real, you know, and like that's what made it rock still, you know.
The whole idea of grunge kind of came out of the idea that LA was the place music was doing things up until that point. That's where you went for music, was LA, and that was the hot spot. So naturally, you know, like Guns N' Roses was a very late hair metal band.
Right.
You know, when they came out, we were already done with that. But I was so deep into old punk rock that when grunge hit, there were bands, especially i.e. Melvins, Mudhoney, you know, Jesus Lizard, that I had already heard in what we considered to be the punk scene.
Right.
Which was punk, metal, thrash, all of that.
Which is what they considered themselves.
Right. And you had an active scene in Southern California and all through LA that was making money. You had bands very close by up north that would tour down there to try to make money.
Right.
Well, like in San Francisco or something.
And so it was the underground scene that spawned a couple of bands that really hit, i.e. Alice in Chains,
Soundgarden,
Nirvana.
Yeah.
And so all of the record labels flooded up there and made the grunge movement actually happen. Like most movements, they didn't call themselves grunge.
Right. That was a media term that they
they were like, no.
And the thing is, if you think about those bands, the sound of those bands that you mentioned, Nirvana, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, and then Stone Temple Pilots is the other one that I always put in that five, the big five of what they called grunge at the time. Those five bands sound wildly different from each other. And none of them actually like it. They all sound like rock bands, but like STP's way more glam and Bowie and that sort of thing going on. Nirvana was just straight punk. Like, that's all Kurt wanted to fucking be.
Punk.
Like, Pearl Jam is Neil Young and Crazy Horse and fucking all those elements from the history of rock and roll. And then, I mean, Soundgarden is like fucking, Alice in Chains is just evil blues.
It's just like metal, and like Soundgarden is like
Soundgarden is fucking Sabbath and like the product of Sabbath and King Crimson into like Chris Cornell's fucking just, But anyway, like, grunge is a bullshit term. I agree.
Have you guys
Sorry.
been keeping up with? Did we talk about Linkin Park? Have we talked about this?
I have talked about it with you about the thing with the singer and her being a Scientologist and all that jazz.
Yeah. Do you know about this?
Bullshit.
No, I don't really keep up with Linkin Park, honestly.
Okay, so let me fill you in. So Linkin Park has a new singer.
It's a girl, right?
Yeah. She is in hot water right now. They just released a song, like their first single with her as the singer. And she's in hot water right now because she, and I might, be fudging this up a little bit, so look it up. Like, don't just take my word for it. But she testified on behalf of the dude from, what's his name? Danny Masterson. Dude from that 70s show.
Yeah.
So she was like, no, he's a good dude. So then he gets convicted, and she's like, I take it back. It's like, okay, that was weird. Also, she's a Scientologist.
Oh, that's what did it right there.
And then if you start thinking about like what happened to Chester Benningfield and Chris Cornell, which is what got me thinking about it because we were talking about Chris Cornell, like they were working on some shit about child trafficking, and they both died. They were working on it together, and then they both fucking killed themselves. And now the new singer for Linkin Park is a Scientologist. I'm at my board right now, just connecting threads. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm Charlie.
It's the evil cabal, dude. They're all fucking in on it, dude. And they're all butt fucking each other in some crazy blood orgy, man. That is so evil we can't even comprehend it, dude.
But the fact that we know about it, like, kind of ruins it for them.
Yeah.
And also that we make fun of it really ruins it for them. That's something I've learned is like people in our generation don't care about what's true. They just want to say the thing that makes them popular. Like say the thing that's...
It's so stupid, dude.
Right?
Yeah.
So what do you do about that? Well, logic's not going to work. You're not going to reason with these people. You're not going to use logic and reason to change their mind. But what you can do is make what they're saying cringe. You just use what they're doing of like, this is the thing that's cool. And if you don't say this, you're a bad person. Just change that. Just fucking flip the switch on that. Where it's like, actually, what y'all are doing is fucking dumb. Yeah.
And fuck you.
And then they're like, fuck, it's not cool anymore. Okay, I'm just going to switch my opinion now. Anyway.
But the thing is, you need money to pay for fucking followers and bots to freaking make you relevant. So you're, on everybody's phone and everybody sees you and everybody sees you being like, this is cool now. Join the fucking revolution, So it's all about fucking money, dude, at the end of the day, which fucking
that's what the internet's like, right? But like Chance was saying earlier, people are not divided as the internet wants you to think they are. Like,
it's all the media bullshit, dude. It's like,
like I've talked to a lot of people about shit now, and I'm like, we all kind of agree, actually. Yeah. We all kind of, even though I'm talking to people with very different ideas about shit, it's like we're all on like at least mostly the same page, though. It's like really small things that we disagree about.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm not going to pretend like I've been around enough different, people or cultures to really know the full scale of everything. But, I feel like for everybody I talk to and meet and just like interact with on a day-to-day basis, it's like they're pretty fucking, normal people. I feel like there's a lot of weirdos and rational fucking or irrational, like weirdo, like extremists out there for sure. And I definitely meet my handful of them.
Oh, they exist. They're just not as many as they'd like you to think they are.
But yeah, I agree,
check out Kool Katz. New song, October 13th.
Yeah, October 13th, Drawing a Blank.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the name of the song?
Yep.
Hell yeah, dude. And we'll see you next week, Alice.